there, sewing friends. You know how I've talked about dotted journals in the past? This is one that I have. And basically it forms a grid. So it's kind of like graph paper without the lines. So this is just kind of a floppy one that I picked up. I think, gosh, this does have a pocket in the back. I didn't realize that. And I use them to journal and keep my calendar. And a couple of you were asking about that and how I use them and what is this dotted journal thing. And so I thought I would show you. So here is how I laid out my schedule, my kind of planner kind of thing for February.
Well, obviously, you need something to write with, and I love these friction pens. I have both markers and regular pens, but I really like these because you can erase them, and you can see here I've tried something and then erased it. So the first thing I'm going to do is find where the center of the page is, and you just fold it in half and find a crease. But that means that I can then look at the number of letters that I have and kind of divide them in half so I know where the middle is. And so here I'm just going to write something out. I tried a couple of different things, but I didn't like them, the script basically, or the font. And so I thought, okay, you know what? I'm making this too hard. Just write it out in your own handwriting. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm using a red because I like the idea that February is when Valentine's Day happens. Now you can see here that, yeah, clearly I don't like where that ended up, the F. And then the B and the R too close together. This is just me being really particular for no real good reason, to be honest. I think that the thing was that those didn't come down as far on the line as they should have. So I was just cleaning them up. But now it's time to put that F in, and I've counted over, kind of, eyeballed where that should go. And that's where these dots are so helpful. Now at this point, I just want it to be pretty. And I had seen this on Pinterest or Google or something, I don't know. But they were just little hearts, kind of like hanging from the ceiling, and I liked that. So I decided I would do that for February. You don't have to do this. You can just write it in any kind of font you want, or just block script or whatever, your own handwriting, it doesn't matter. But I like to make it pretty because if I make it pretty, then I want to look at it. And if I want to look at it and add to it or take away from it, I'm going to pay attention to what's on my schedule. So it's kind of like I'm tricking myself, but not really. And also keep in mind here that I am not an artist. I can't sketch really. I need kind of a more structured kind of way to make things pretty. So here I've got an actual gel friction pen. It's one of the clickable ones, and I'm just shading this in for no apparent reason. I mean, it can be shaded or not shaded, it just depends on you. Okay, that was probably way more fussing around with it than is needed, but that was just me making it pretty. And now I want to look at the calendar for February. I try and do one regular, like all the boxes kind of calendar. And you just basically, to do this, all I did was figure out how far in I wanted to come from the edge. And this is what is so great about a bullet journal. You can count the dots without having to measure. So I knew I wanted to come 2 dots in from each edge, and that each box, I think it's 5 dots square. So this is just where I am counting off how many dots that I want for each square and just marking those, so then I can then draw in the lines. I should also mention here that the reason I was looking at the calendar on my phone was to see how many rows I needed. And see, now when I count down 5, I can just go across and just follow that dot line. Sorry, my head's in the way here. But each one across, I can just go across, and that's what's so great about those dots. Now, if I had lines, that'd be great, but it would obscure the whole thing at the top. So having the dots is like having a blank page, except it's kind of a cheat because you have all these little dots that don't really show up, because what you're writing with your pen is a whole lot more obvious. But yet another reason why I love dotted journals. Now here's where it's time to make the squares. And essentially, if you're doing this for the first time, basically all you have to do is take the number of dots between your beginning and ending line and divide it by 7. So you have the whole week, as it were. And I did this on a previous calendar for January, so I already knew how many to go across. So this part is easy. I'm just counting across 5, draw a line, count across 5, draw a line. Actually, I'm marking these, and then I'll go in and fill in the lines. But when I get from the end over towards the left-hand side, I've got a few more than 5 dots. So the boxes that are on the left there are going to be a little bit bigger. But that's okay with me. I really don't care. I mean, it may not divide out evenly anyway. I was just going from the calendar that I did in January. But again, you can see how easy these are to line up because I'm just following the dots. Okay, so now the lines are all drawn and I am just labeling, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. To be honest, I already started writing these and I ended up not doing it right. I started with Monday and I thought, wait a minute, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, this is typical me, and this is why I use an erasable pen. And then I get fussy about how far, across the day went. You can do this in any kind of font you want. And also, that's another beautiful thing about this. I just copy fonts. I will Google a February font, a script font, a bold font, a happy font, all of that. When it comes up on Google, then I can just look at the font, A to Z, and even the numbers, and then I can just copy it. So I'm a really good mimic. I'm a good monkey. I have monkey arms too. And so if you can do that, it's a great way to do it. If not, there are stickers. You can just use your own handwriting, which is what I've done here. Whatever you like. The other thing about erasing that I wanted to tell you is that friction pens use heat to erase. And if you erase a lot, you can kind of see here where when I erase something, it kind of makes the page kind of wavy. And if I wanted for the page to be not wavy, I could always just heat up my iron and go over and iron it flat. And it makes all of the stuff I want to erase vanish, because friction pens disappear with heat. That's how the erasing works. Now, I looked at my calendar here on my phone just to see where the days started. And I'm doing the numbers for the days like this because I saw it done and I really liked the layout. So all I'm doing is drawing circles, and I'll put the numbers of the days in the circles. It will take away from the area that I have to write in the squares, but I don't use those squares for everyday tasks. I do something different for that. This is just to kind of remind me what in general I need to make sure that I get done on that day. So all I'm going to do here is finish with the circles and then erase the line part in the middle and fill in the numbers. And one more thing I wanted to add about erasing. If you're going to do it with your iron, then make sure that you don't want to erase what's on the flip side of that page, because that will go away also. I've also had times with these kinds of journals that it's gotten hot in the house or outside or wherever I've had the book, it's gotten hot, and so part of the things that I've written will go away. If you are confident about what you write, do it with regular pen, but I'm not. I want it, I don't want a whole lot of scratched out places, so I just use the friction pens. One other thing I wanted to tell you about the circles was that this is where the dots come in. You can see that mine are fairly consistent. They're not absolutely consistent, but those dots can tell me, oh, you want about 3 up and 3 down, or you want a 3 completely, top to bottom and 3 side to side. They are just a great guide so that I can get it consistent one to the next. It's also really important to me to do things in different colors so that I can see one thing to the next, what I need to pay attention to. And here, #Friday Sews. Oh yeah. New section, new color, new pen. So here, I'm going to do something that's called a tracker. And all this is a chart. And I want to make it 29 boxes because there are 29 days in February this year. This year is a leap year. So what I'm going to do is count 29 dots and make these 1/4 inch squares, because all I have to do is fill them in, like, color them in completely. I don't need to make them any bigger than they are. I could, but I'm not going to. And all I need is 29 boxes. So whatever's left over at the far left end, what I'll do is count from the right to the left, and I'll count 29 and mark them off. And then I can write at the far left end what I want that to be. And it's called a tracker because you track something you want to keep track of. So for me, that's reading my Bible every day. That's exercising every day. That's keeping on track with my keto carbs and my intermittent fasting. Did I stick to that day? Did I go outside that day? Did I sew that day? Did I pay attention to my journal that day? I have another journal that I write in on my laptop. So that's what all this is. And you can make this as big or as small as you like. But that's what that part is for. And now, time for a new pen because I want to be able to see what I did. And I'm just going to label each task. Actually, what I did later, I went back in and refined because, you look at it and you think, well, it would look better if I did this. I took out like every other row, I took out the lines that went vertically because I don't like the grid. And again, you pick your task. You pick something that you want to get done every day. And you can see how I fill these in like that. That's just all I do. That way, when I look back at the end of the month, I can see how I did in terms of accomplishing each of those things that I wanted to do every day. Actually, here's where I got out all of my gel clicker pens, which were not markers, because I couldn't figure out what color I wanted next. And I thought, well, what colors do I have? You'd think I would know this, but because I throw them in this little pencil pouch, I don't always know. So I was trying to choose the colors for the next part of the journal. Before I move on, I just wanted to show you, this is what my tracker ended up looking like. Now for the next part, I go day by day. And so again, keeping with the theme that I saw with the layout, I just draw a circle and I put the day in it. And then I go 7 dots across, 3 dots down, 7 back across. And then I write the name of the day inside the little box that's formed by the dots. And then I go ahead and detail out each day's tasks. Now sometimes I'll do several days in a row, but when I don't get something done, I put the greater than sign and I cross off the things that I did get done for each day. I usually do this at the beginning of the next day. And the stuff that I put the greater than sign in front of, I migrate to the next day so that I remember I didn't get that done yesterday, so I need to do that today. That's just the bullet journal way of doing things, but you can do it any way you want, any way that it helps you see what you've done and what you need to do. I thought I'd give you a little bit of backstory on my very first bullet journal. This was it. I still use it today. I got it from Amazon. It has some little ribbons. There's who made it. It has a little place for your pen, but because I use colored pens, I don't generally use that feature. You can keep it shut like that. And okay, it starts out with a key. Now this one, the pages are numbered and it's set up just like the regular bullet journal always is. And so this is how the people who started bullet journals do it. I don't usually do it that way, but then we've got an index so you can notate what page things are on and then put it here in the index. And so I marked some pages to kind of just show you how I did it at the time. This has been for 4 or 5 years ago. This is a tracker and it's just stuff I wanted to get done, and the days clearly when I did not do it a whole lot more than I did it, but I tried to encourage myself, you know, write all kinds of things down for that. And so let me keep going here. This is a calendar I did, and you can tell I just turned it on end, and you can do it. That's the beauty of this, is that you can do it any way you want. You know, any font you want, you can set up your calendar however you want. That's just how I did it that year, or that month. And then here was another one. I use this largely for my books, but you can tell. I just found something online that looked like that. I liked the font, I liked the books. And then this I just put in my regular handwriting, so you don't have to get fancy if you don't want to. This was when we were going on a road trip to try and figure out where we wanted to live. And so, again, I just liked the layout, and I tried to, you know, draw something that inspired me. And this was June one year. I went to Alaska over my birthday, and I wanted to draw how the sun never goes down. And so, you know, I had stuff going on then too, but it's just a calendar. And it's laid out differently. You know, it's done like this instead of in boxes. So sometimes I did that. Here, just another example of something I saw that I liked and I copied. So let's see, where's this one? This one's here. This was when I knew that I needed to cut back on sugar, and I kind of tried to this is hilarious. My husband laughed and laughed. It's because it makes my legs hurt, and I have trouble with my joints. So I just tried to draw reasons that I should not eat sugar, and clearly it didn't deter me much, but yeah, I tried. And this, when I had my other book channel, is how I kept track of everything that I talked about. And, you know, Friday Sews, well, it started with Friday Reads. And so I just would list the books that I did, who narrated them, because I always did audiobooks, the dates, the stars I gave them on Goodreads. And this was how I read them, whether it was, you know, in print or listening to them. This is just a chart I made so that I could figure out how to make an office for just set up an office for my husband. It's just another way that you can use these. You can put all kinds of notes in them just for stuff you want to remember. Right here is my makes for 2022. These were my goals for 2024. And if you get the standard kind of bullet journal, it'll have this little pocket in the back where you can stick stuff. So that is my very first bullet journal that I even used last week. And I will until the pages run out.
That's how I do it. I try and make it pretty because if it's pretty, then I am motivated to look at it. So let me know if you have any questions about that, and I will try and answer them to the best of my knowledge. I will put a video in the description box. Actually, I'll put a couple of those down so that you can see how other people do it. The bullet journal was started by, I don't know, some guy. I'll put a link to that website also, to make it simple to keep a calendar and schedule your life. Now, I don't schedule my life, but I do need kind of reminders throughout the day, what I need to do today, what I need to do tomorrow, what I need to accomplish in the month, what are my long-term things that I want to keep in the front of me so that I remember to do them. So that might not be a problem for you, but it is for me. And so I'll link you to some good resources about how it all started and, you know, tips and tricks for doing it. You know how I stick a little bit of Jesus at the end of all my videos. And this one is from Romans 12:9. Let love be genuine. Abhor what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. You can figure that out for yourself. That is between you and God. But let your love be genuine, authentic. Yeah, honest. And that is it for now for me. I will see you next time. Oh, thanks for watching.